Hi, welcome to Sunday Nights with Faye Seidler. We're back, we're doing it, and I have so much to say, just an enormous amount. You're going to love this episode. It's going to be your favorite. Or not, I don't know. But the first thing we're going to do is talk about last week's news because I have just a ton of different things that I cover. So last week I had 50 different stories around things like national LGBTQ plus news, equity news, politics in North Dakota, general community stories, and just data, resources, and stuff for people who work in nonprofit healthcare education. I have them all divided, so if there's news that you like to follow in our region, you can just look at that. And when I do my shows, I only usually cover like about 20% of all the stuff that's out there. I try to pick the important stuff, but just to let you know, there's a lot more that you can check out. And you can also see what's going on around the state. It would take you probably just a couple minutes to read through there. It takes me like 20 hours to generate it, so please look at it. But for this week, we have an INclued LGBTQ plus sexual education training coming up September 9th at 5 p.m. put together by Planned Parenthood. Keep in mind the sexual education is essential for everything. It's essential for suicide prevention, mental health, for being able to destigmatize some of these ideas around sex, and to prevent things like STIs. It is an essential piece of education that a lot of people might miss through standard public education, but especially our LGBTQ plus individuals, especially in times like this. This is important education for everyone to have, and it's an access point for LGBTQ plus youth to get that. Planned Parenthood does a lot of sexual health education for everyone, for just general peer support for youth, for parents, ways for us to better talk about these conversations, especially if you're an awkward Midwesterner and you don't even want to ever talk about that. It's still important that we talk about it, and you can defer that work to people who are experts. Speaking of trainings, we have an LGBTQ plus cultural competency training, a national online free training, September 10th at 6 p.m. if you're a professional and want to get a better idea of our community. Starting today and going for the rest of the week, Grand Forks Pride is happening with a ton of different events for your whole family, for just adults, for everyone really, all across the week. And while I'm talking about that, I just want to let you know that Dr. Bridget Brooks, has been recognized as a Grand Forks Pride Cheryl Terrence Award winner, and also the Grand Marshal for their parade coming up. So if you're in the Grand Forks area or can make it there and want to experience some queer community, joy, and celebration, this is your chance to do so. The last Pride of the year, I think, for city-hosted prides. September is Suicide Prevention Month, so there's a lot of opportunities to get involved with our suicide prevention sector. There is a Talk Saves Lives happening September 12th at 12 p.m. This is an online and in-person opportunity to learn more about how you can talk to individuals experiencing mental health dilemmas or crisis to be able to get them the support that they need. These are good entry-level trainings. Anyone can take them. They are helpful for at least everyone to take once in their life, so you have a good idea of how to talk about this kind of stuff. It's not hard once you practice it enough. It becomes second nature, it becomes easier, but the first times are tough. You just have to get over those hurdles, and you can help save lives that you know. On September 24th is the Major Suicide Prevention Conference hosted in Bismarck and online. This is our biggest suicide prevention conference. It is hosted by the North Dakota Suicide Prevention Coalition, so anyone who is looking to up their game and understand and connect with people working in suicide prevention, this is your opportunity. It's one of the best ways and best times to connect on this topic in our state. And just in more community news, Anime Fargo is coming up September 26th to 28th at the end of this month in Fargo. Just one of those convention spaces, which is a really good opportunity for anyone to just mingle, have a good time, and be reminded about warmth and community, and share something that they might enjoy with others, like anime or video games or general nerdy things. You can get all of that at that convention. Moving out of my events, which I promised I would start with so you'd know you could do things, here's some stories that you can also do things with, but they're a little different. North Dakota Compass is something I highlight often. They're one of our amazing data centers in this area. They talk a lot about our state data. They've redesigned their website and have a lot of cool stuff on there, so check it out if you care about North Dakota data. All 8 people in this state, we got it! There's a resource for us. I say bitterly, but I like them, and people who like data, I just wish it was a higher amount of us. I also want to highlight PFLAG's transgender resources. I recently reached out to Raven's mom to ask them, hey, what are some good resources for trans youth or parents of trans youth? Since I'm not a parent of a trans kid, I have a lot of expertise in a lot of different topics, but I don't have personal experience, so I'm not always going to know what the best resources are for someone living through that. So I often refer to other folks who are parents of LGBTQ plus or trans youth to see what worked for them, because that's going to matter more than what I think might work. And they recommended PFLAG's resources. ACLU provided a resource for schools that are dealing with ICE or immigration officers coming in to potentially traumatize kids. There's a lot of different resources there to let folks know what some of their rights might be. Keep in mind, North Dakota is a border of Canada, which means that ICE does have jurisdiction within 100 miles of our border. I think that's a lot of our state. So a lot of people can be and have been impacted, and it's unfortunately worth knowing these resources and your rights to mitigate the harms that can happen in your community. Other resources is Parents Lead has a suicide prevention resource toolkit for schools. Parents Lead is one of the trusted avenues for parent support in our state, run through the North Dakota Department of Health, the Health and Human Services now. I think, pretty sure on that, but it tends to be a good resource I refer to a lot. In sad news, Red Raven is having its final events at the end of this month. I have a few events coming out. There's a lot of different information about why they are closing, but it seems like it's just turning the chapter for a lot of people who were involved, where it wasn't necessarily a sustainable place anymore. Things like this do come and go, and the capacity for other places to rise up still exists. So while it's sad that we're losing the Raven, now is not the time that we can really keep it. There is going to be times in the future where we have more energy and funding and capacity to create other places like that, and that's how it works in a lot of queer history. It's ebbs and flows of these places coming to when we need them, eventually dissolving and eventually rising back up. So I have hope that new chapters are going to open up in the future. And then finally, I want to highlight a resource that's going to help you communicate to your elected officials. It's resources for mailing those in government. This is new to me, so I don't have a great or in-depth understanding of all of it, but I believe that they're just there to help facilitate more information and conversations between you and people who are running things in our state. I always encourage this personally. I think everyone's voice matters. It doesn't always feel like it when you reach out to a representative and you get a canned response and they don't listen to you. I think individually stories do get ignored, but when enough of us talk, that is worth it in itself. We can't focus on the outcomes we can get, but we have to know our voices matter, and when we use them, that matters too. I did a whole training on this. It was well received. I'll have a recording up at some point. But just a reminder, I have a bunch of newsletters that go out. My monthly newsletter ran on a couple days ago. I have a Patreon where you can support me. You don't have to. But I'm mostly in there to get information out, to network and connect folks, and to make sure that they're successful if their work is trying to make lives better. So feel free to get in touch with me. Feel free to have me share things you're doing, because that's how we know things are happening and people can get involved. I'm always happy to promote the stuff that people have as much as I can. And please, if you can, share this show out. Like, subscribe. I'm an influencer. I'm a YouTuber. This is how we do it. I'm going to have a thumbnail of Mr. Beast and Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and then I'll be world famous. You know, I actually probably would have much better engagement if that was the case. But no, I'm honest. Like, even if I'm satirical, I'm at least honest in the reason that I create satire. Who knows? Thanks for watching me. See you next week. Bye.